Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of gold and silver. We'll look at the dollar, the 10-year yield, and the precious metals and the ETFs and companies themselves. Again, this is just my financial opinion. Please don't use this as advice. We'll get in here and I'll give you my opinion. So we get the dollar. It's still getting stronger against other currencies. This will be support for dollar-denominated assets. Usually a stronger dollar leads to, well, the gold doesn't like stronger dollar. Usually what you want to see is a little bit weaker dollar providing a tailwind to commodities that are priced in dollars. So some countries or people in other countries like dollar-denominated assets when the dollar's getting stronger against their currency. But right now we've got a stronger dollar. Looks like it's breaking out of this little resistance area to the upside. We'll see if we hit this resistance line right above it. The 10-year yield is rocketing higher, up 5.88%. This is definitely in an uptrend. It is moving on higher very quickly. And I do think that this is a tailwind to our investments. But sometimes when you get a stronger dollar and a higher yield, gold does not necessarily like that type of condition. I would say, actually, I'm surprised that oil was down today because that oil usually likes that. The oil and the 10-year yield are very highly correlated. But I saw that oil was down today as well. Looking at gold, gold was down a little bit. We're still above this support line. We got to see if this thing holds. We're just chopping sideways. Silver, this one's dropping out below its support area, dropping down a little bit. We could see a little bit more downside out of this before heading higher. And platinum as well dropping down. So we could be dropping to very good buy points in platinum if we can get down to low enough levels. So we've got nice good pullback here. The size of the down movements here. We've got kind of a movement here, another big movement here. We come back up, another big hit. And then hopefully we can start slowing down. We'll create kind of a type wedge pattern somewhere in this region here. And I would be a buyer of the physical metal of platinum in that location. But right now, it's still heading a little bit lower. XAU to gold ratio, we're getting a little bit of selling pressure here. Again, we are coming up to this resistance line. We're getting a little bit of resistance. I thought we were clear and free. Like, yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. But we're getting a little bit more selling pressure here. A little bit more selling pressure. Looking kind of back out, we're going to get a little wick at the top here on a monthly candlestick. There's your wick right there. We got to close up and above this line here. That's our resistance area. We're trying to break through this. Now, the companies are going to be down in relationship to gold. That's what the ratio is telling us. Looking at this, we're getting a little bit of a sell-off here today. I'm going between so this is the daily, getting a little bit of a bloody nose type movement here. Usually they continue higher, but we're getting some selling pressure up here. That's why we've got red candlesticks and wicks at the top here. A little bit of selling pressure at that region up there. Again, I'm not doing anything with my shares. I'm just holding on. EXK, a little more selling pressure here. We could head a little bit lower. Surprising that we've got, a bullish engulfing here and a bullish piercing here. Those are all bullish statistical probabilities of heading higher. But we've got this nice big down day today. Kind of dumbfounded by it, but you know what? If we're going to head lower, we're going to head lower, maybe to this area down here. Still above its pattern. Everything still looks good. Same with, and this is going to be across the board. We might get a little bit of a pullback before heading higher, but everything is still well positioned. We're sitting on top of patterns. It is very well positioned on all of these, but we're just getting a little bit more selling pressure today. Sellers came out to play. A little more selling pressure in GDX. MMNGF, these are the small guys. The small guys are going to get thrown all around. We're right at support resistance line. Resistance going up, support coming back down. Koya silver, this is a reversal candlestick here. Usually you get a move higher the next day. You got candlestick wicks at the bottom of all these guys. It's usually bullish. It means people buy the stock at this price. That's why there's multiple candlesticks that look like that. Discovery Silver getting a little bit of sell-off today, bouncing off this resistance line. You can see every time we hit the line, it sells off. Looking at First Majestic Silver, getting a little bit of a sell-off today. Still looks good, still above the pattern, still looking all right. Newmont getting a little bit more of a sell-off. Again, it still looks great sitting on top of its pattern. This is our leader, or one of the leaders. Looking at Mag Silver, still within the support line and resistance line. Everything going all right. We've got a little bit of a kind of reversal candlestick here. We could head a little bit lower on Yamana Gold. This has had a pretty good run up. Impact Silver, just moving sideways. We kind of get this pull up and then the sideways move like that. Sometimes those are pretty bullish. Aftermath Silver, just continuing to move sideways in its channel. Arcana Silver, just continuing to pull back. Again, it may be trying to get to this 0.13 level. PLG heading a little bit lower. Ooh, if we can come back here, guys, this would be a great buying point if we can get back down here. It does look like it wants to pull back in the short term. And then Siboney, Stillwater still looks like it wants to pull back some more. The royalty companies, Sandstorm Gold, SAND, down 1.5%. Yeah, it looks like we could pull back a little bit. This is a bearish engulfing pattern. It engulfs the one before it. And remember, these things can quickly move. So they transfer back and forth so quickly in the short term. But we are still above, in the general vicinity, above this breakout area. So it still looks good, but we just might have a down day or two in the short term. And remember, this is all statistical probability. It's not 100% outcomes. And this one's right sitting on top of its support line here. That one looks all right. EMX getting, I mean, it's just moving sideways for EMX. Little wick at the bottom. People are buying it up at the bottom there. Tooten Resources, a little bit of a gap higher and then a little bit of a sell-off throughout the day. Momentum's heading back down above support. Wheaton Precious Metals, another one that's got a little bit more sell-off today. We have bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing. So we'll see where this thing ends up. So fight between the buyers and the sellers. A little more selling in gold royalty today. A little bit larger down day, still above support. Metallo royalty, MTA. Again, this one's above support. Still looks good. We have a lot of support over here. So if it gets down there, I would say, maybe sprinkle, sprinkle. Mavericks Metal still above support, still looking fine. And then we got Royal Gold, just another down, kind of normal down day today. This is a bloody nose. Usually that's an indication to go higher. So we'll see if it goes higher. Cisco Gold Royalty above its support line here. That's support. And we're above it. And then Altius, gap down, but people bought up and momentum's heading higher. So that one still looks good. We're above all these support areas, and we could pull back a little bit before heading higher. And I think that's what's happening. So overall, guys, we're above our resistance areas. If we get a pullback, buying opportunity. That's how I see it. The market conditions are favorable for gold to go up in these market conditions. The market conditions are high inflation, increasing home prices is the reason for that, and then new home starts will be a driver behind it. If the home starts get gummed up, where they can't be selling these homes because they're short for whatever reason, that could slow down some of the inflation pressures from that area. That is true. But we won't have a crash. I know people kind of go, they're almost, it's like growth mode or crash mode, and they have no in-between. What I think is going to happen is we're going to get some of that in-between stuff. And what does that mean? The in-between stuff means we could drift sideways for a little bit in some of this stuff. Because the inflation may slow down a little bit depending on the money coming into the system. And I'm not saying short term. I'm saying kind of like maybe a year out or something. It all depends on how much money's being loaned into the system and how much money's getting into the hands of people to rotate through the economy. But market conditions are still favorable for gold and silver to go higher. We have inflation. We have an increasing interest rate environment. Bonds are going to get destroyed in this environment, and that bond money is going to rotate over into precious metals. That's why we're seeing interest rates go up so fast. They're selling bonds. So that's what I'm seeing. We just got to sit tight. If we get a little bit of a pullback here to what I think, on top of our support areas, I'd be a buyer. And hopefully I can get my money in because I want to buy more of this stuff. That's what hopefully we get a bigger pullback, guys. Hopefully we get a little bit bigger pullback. I like buying when it's cheap. And I'm still adding money into markets. So I'm still looking at this from a favorable perspective. Give me a thumbs up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Check out my website. If you guys are interested, subscribe to the website. I would do the platinum membership. Why? Because it gets you access to absolutely everything. Get you the weekend meetings. You guys can ask me difficult questions during the weekend. Grill me. That's fine. Ask all these difficult questions. Ask, why I think gold and silver is going to continue to go up because of the market conditions. What market conditions am I looking at? Why do I think this? Dig down. Test the thesis. Get in there, and then once you start listening to all my videos, you start listening to the thesis, you start looking at some of these charts, maybe everything kind of falls in place for you. And again, these are all statistical probabilities in terms of the short-term chart trading stuff. The long-term stuff is pretty reliable. It's fundamental driven in all the technical analysis. It's very fundamentally driven. Anything in the short term can move these things around. And that's why I went to a longer time frame investing. Because the short term is brutal. It's too much risk, too much stuff throwing it all around for whatever reason. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.